5 tightens, hard brake for hairpin right in junction.
Oh no! Oh god, that was great. If that was Korean, I would be raging my ass there. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel for a brand new episode of the WRC9 Tips to Be Fast series. And it's been a while, we've been missing out on this series, you've been missing this series quite a lot. It's understandable because literally the episode I've left you off, it's episode number 3 and it's the episode that you're gonna be learning how to go through a proper rally stage. Episode number 1, we'll learn the basic tips on how to drive a rally car. Episode number 2, we'll learn about rainy condition driving, like how to drive in rain, how much throttle to apply and all that beautiful stuff. If you haven't checked it out, go and check it out. And on this episode we're going to be applying everything that we've learned so far in this series on how to approach a proper rally stage, what you need to do, what you need to watch out, and how you pretty much are going to learn a proper rally stage. So straight up we're going to be going to quick play, and I'm going to be starting, let's just start with one of the great stages in Portugal, the new stages that they've put into the game. Let's start with Felgueiras, why not? And the main advice that I really want to give you guys straight away is, if you're new to the game, do not start off with the WRC cars. Start either with the WRC2, WRC3 cars or the junior WRC cars. For the time being, I think the perfect start entry level car is a WRC2 car. It's got as much power as you need to keep yourself interested, and it's also very easy to correct your mistakes and just have fun. Meanwhile, learning the process of how to be a rally driver on WRC9 and also learning a specific stage. So we're going to be starting off us driving probably the most common WRC2, WRC3 car, Oliver Solberg's Skoda Fabia R5. So we're going to be choosing that car, and we're going to be driving around an 8.5 kilometer stage around Portugal. Now the main thing about a stage is listening to your co-driver, and what I mean by that is you've got to learn what does the co-driver say exactly. What are all these weird notes you're just listening, like tightens, widens, like opens, you know, all this beautiful stuff that the co-driver says are very important when you firstly get into a proper rally stage. And I'm gonna be not analyzing all of them, but probably plenty of them. So starting off, when he says left 4, it doesn't mean a flat out left 4. It means more like control the throttle with a left gear on it. And now he told me right 2. Do not cut, obviously. When he says don't cut, really don't cut. There's probably a tree or a rock there. 3 opens means that on the exit you can actually apply a lot more throttle and it opens, it widens. Now we've got a 5 left. This is a bit of a jump. 4, but don't cut because you can see there's a rock there, and if you would cut you probably would have ended out of the stage. Here it tells you it narrows, it really does. Oh god, look at that, beautiful. And now onto square corners. You mostly might put first gear, so I've messed up completely there. The main thing about rolling is you need to know when to push and when not to push, and this is something you learn gradually. I'm yet to learn that, obviously. I'm still not like an amazing driver. I just know a few basic things, and I can do all the things that I'm doing with the car currently, as you see. The main thing is learning how much throttle to apply, and I would say you shouldn't really be... You should learn how to use the brake, just play with the brake and the throttle, but not just a little bit on each and every single corner. For example, as you can see, on all of these corners, it's never flat out. It can never be... Alright, so as you can see there, I also made a mistake because I'm not listening to the co-driver and I don't know the stages whatsoever. But anyway, back to the stage now. So pretty much listen to the co-driver, listen to the gears firstly, and then you need to start learning what this every single sign means. For example, narrows doesn't mean necessarily you need to go slower, but it means that there's a narrow section coming up, just like in here. Yeah, it's a chicane, it also narrows, you've got to be a little bit more cautious. But in general, when he tells you about a corner, it's not a flat out corner. That's the mistake most of new players who emerge into rallying make. It's not flat out. So for example, a left 3 doesn't mean necessarily you need to go flat out on the 3rd gear. You need to brake, you need to control the throttle, you need to control the throttle to slide the car sometimes as well. Just like in here. And then we go into the widens. Widens means that after a tight corner, not necessarily tight, or a slow corner, medium speed corner, that it literally widens, which means you can apply more throttle on the exit, and there's something more fast coming up after that corner. On the other hand, tightens means that you need to slow down, probably shift down, brake, you know, all this beautiful stuff. For example, you might say left 3 tightens, so that means that you've got to pretty much either shift down to second. Sometimes they're gonna say left 3 tightens too, so that necessarily means you need to shift down to second. Sometimes they say left 4 tightens, for example, which means that you don't necessarily need to shift down, but you need to really decrease your speed if you stay on 4th gear. There's also the jumps when he tells you to jump. There's also the cuts when he tells you slight cut, which means do not cut too much, but you can actually cut in order to gain some time. He says no cut is when you literally don't need to cut. You shouldn't, you mustn't, you must not cut actually in order to survive. And then there's also the big cut, which means you need to completely cut probably. Apart from that, there's not really something you need to learn about the co-driver. It just grows on you time after time. You're just going to learn all the signs as you start playing even more. You can see he says left 4 don't cut, right 3 do not cut, but I've cut a little bit. I'm going to be talking about that on the next tip of this video. But for now, what I want you to know is that when you enter a new stage, always listen to your co-driver. It's probably the best thing you can do if you want to like learn the stage, learn the car. And also why I told you to pick up a WRC2, WRC3 car, you might be wondering, is because they are slower and they give you more time to correct mistakes and just in general have a better experience and have a better understanding of what you need to do as we come across the finish line. It's probably a horrendous time, honestly, because of the mistakes. We're still not lost despite everything that happened. But overall, I think that's everything I had to say about listening to your co-driver. And in general, listening to your co-driver, understand what he says and follow his instructions, especially in real life. That's what the drivers do in general. They don't really see corners, they only listen to the co-driver, and it's like the co-driver is driving for them and they're just moving the wheel and shifting down and up. That's pretty much all about it. That's how important the co-driver is. And I know it's a game, but if you're new to the game, you've got to listen to your co-driver and learn how to do all of the things that the co-driver says before literally just going flat out and, you know, trying all these crazy things you want to try in a proper rally stage. So moving on now, I'm going to be driving as well around the Japanese stage, and let's just choose the Nagakuta stage, why not? And I'm going to be driving the cars that I'm not really familiar with. I've never actually driven these cars. And these are the Junior WRC cars. We're going to be driving as John Armstrong, obviously. 180 horsepower, 250 power of torque, and 1.30 kg. Now, the reason I don't drive these cars is because I think the experience that you're going to gain by driving these cars is not viable for your next step onto WRC2 or even the big category, the WRC category. Whereas when you drive the WRC2 cars, you gain a lot of experience for the next category, which is the WRC cars. Obviously, that in real life is not true. You always get to start from the Junior WRC category and then slowly move up the grades. But in the game, the driving feeling of these cars is not bad by any means. Like, they drive actually very well, they feel great on the road. But I feel like the front wheel driving of these cars is just a bit a completely different thing comparing them to WRC2 and WRC cars. So that's the main reason I don't really drive them. It's nothing really against these cars, but if you really are scared and do not want to go straight onto the WRC2 cars, then I would 100% suggest you to drive the Junior WRC cars. So let's try these cars out and also mention a few other tips that I want to give you about approaching a rally stage. So we covered up the thing which says that you've got to listen to your co-driver. Well, you're gonna do that one time, 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times when learning a new stage, or when just starting off to the game and just playing the same stage over and over again, because you really like it, I guess. Now, after doing that and finding a little bit more confidence, you're gonna be starting to wonder, I know that I can go faster, but the co-driver doesn't teach me how to go that much faster. Well, that's no issue for you. That's a job for you actually to do. What do I mean by that is you've got to learn every single trick, every single cut, every single inch of throttle you can use on each and every single corner of the stage, and that is the magic of rallying. This is what makes rallying completely different to any other sport. On a racetrack, you've got your racing line. Not that we don't have it here, obviously. But on a racetrack, the racing line limits you into one way of being fast. There's also obviously a lot of different driving styles, a lot of like differences between the drivers. But the racing line is one, and if you try and change that, you're probably gonna end up being slower. Whereas in rallying, you know, the co-driver might say one thing or the other, but sometimes your way could be much faster. For example, there's a few corners like this one. He doesn't tell you to cut, but you can completely cut it. He told you a square corner, and you saw that I almost went flat out. Same goes for here. I'm gonna drop down to third, maybe even fourth. You see how much speed I carried through there, and that's purely down to experience and knowing that there's a difference between each and every single square corner on the stage. And now you're gonna be like, how am I gonna learn how to do this? Well, keep on driving. You're gonna reach the point where you're gonna start wondering how you're gonna go faster. And this wonder of yours is gonna be the way you're gonna gain more speed, and you're gonna start finding all these little tricks. Like, for example, this section is almost flat out on 5th gear on these cars, and he told you at some point you drop down to 3rd, which just doesn't make any sense. You're gonna start finding out all of these great little details on each and every single stage that will just completely transform you into a different driver. And by any means, these cars are very entertaining as well. Like, I know I've told you not to start with these cars, but if you really want to go for it, just go for it, because they are actually very, very entertaining. Obviously, the WRC2 cars are faster, they're very predictable, which is very good to start off with. But if you really want to go with these cars, they're even more predictable, they're slower, but they're still very enjoyable. You can actually have quite a lot of fun with these cars. So that's pretty much the main thing, starting after listening to your co-driver to start exploring the stage and all the cuts, all the extra speed that you can apply on each and every single corner. And it's probably the most entertaining thing about driving, playing a rally game, just exploring each and every single stage. As we're gonna come across the finish line, probably win this stage, I think. Yes, we are gonna win this, just about 1.1 seconds. I think I had a horrendous final second there. So if I go back to see where I lost time on the final sector, so that means I can gain even more time on the final sector. So how am I gonna gain that? Let's do that stage again. You know, all these beautiful things about learning a stage. You don't always need to listen to the co-driver. After a few tries, like after learning the stage, the foundations of the stage, then it's your responsibility to start. I don't know if you heard that, but that sounded flipping beautiful. So yeah, it's your responsibility to then later on ignore the co-driver and just do your own thing, push as much as you can, find all the limits, and obviously that whole thing is going to take you ages. You're probably not going to finish the stage on most occasions until you find that perfect balance between speed, concentration, and stability in order to get the perfect result. But I think that this is the most beautiful thing in rallying. I feel like there's nothing else that can match that feeling of perfecting a rally stage and still improving it more and more and more and more. And for the final stage of this episode, I'm gonna be going to, let's go say bye in Kenya, another new location obviously. I'm gonna be driving the WRC cars, why not? Let's drive the Ford Fiesta of our legend Gus Greensmith, who's been ever so slightly improving. You know, we gotta pay respect to you know, Greensmith. He's been improving loads with his new co-driver, especially in Portugal. In real life, he did amazingly. So, you know, slow and steady for Greensmith, but he's really improving. Enough said about Greensmith. Let's just get into this stage and show you why this these cars shouldn't be your entry level. You can already see the difference in speed, and you don't want this to be your first car, the car that you're gonna learn how to drive a stage. You want something slower. Hopefully you've already understood why. The one good thing about these cars is the incredible brakes they have in comparison to the other two categories, but it's just, they're way too fast. You're not going to be able to correct mistakes with these cars. I think these cars should wait for you, especially if you're a new player. If you've been a player on Dead Rally 2.0 or something like that, then sure, go for it. But in general, they've got to wait, and you've got pretty much two incredible categories to try and explore the cars and all that beautiful stuff. He said 2 left there, but we took 3rd gear, as you saw. So yeah, it's just about exploring it in every single stage, finding your grips. It's a beautiful little thing to do on rallying. I think it's the main thing about rallying. Oh, I fucked up. Well, we got the corner done. This is the good thing about these cars. They got great brakes. Even if you mess it up, there's no issue, because you're probably gonna make the corner with that kind of brakes they have. They're literally monsters. But yeah, to pretty much conclude everything we've said. Firstly, when you enter a stage, you've got to listen to your co-driver. Oh god. Oh, look at that. I'm not very fast, but this is an entertaining stage. Oh no! Oh god, that was great. If that was Kareem, I would be raging my ass there. Either way. But yeah, to conclude things up, listen to your co-driver firstly. You know, in order to learn the car, learn the game, learn the stage, and do that with every single stage that you approach when it's a new stage. And always pick up a slower car, either a junior WRC, which I don't really highly recommend. I recommend the WRC2 cars because they're more similar to these cars, which you're going to be driving next up, let's be honest. And then when you start getting familiar with the stage, you can just start exploring the cuts, the loopholes, the things that the co-driver doesn't tell you, and you're not as fast as you wish you were. It's not because you're a bad driver, it's because you simply just haven't explored the stage enough. So that's the 3 main tips. Start from the lower cars to the higher categories, either from Junior WRC or WRC2. Listen to the co-driver and then explore the stage to the maximum. I think that's the most fun you can have in a rally game, just exploring the stage by yourself, trying to improve your time. It makes you a better driver, and makes you a faster driver as well, so it's gonna be a fun thing to do. But either way, I've crossed the finish line. I've had loads of fun today. Hopefully I've helped you a lot as on how to be like a proper rally driver and complete the rally stages that you've always wanted to complete. You know, I didn't really tell you how to be fast in this video, but I think I've helped you enough to complete the stage. If I haven't helped you enough though, make sure you tell me down in the comments below what else you want me to help you out with. I'm down in the comments to help any of you guys with extra questions that you have, or pretty much suggestions for episode number 4. I've already got something in mind, but I'm not going to be telling you right now. Just follow my Discord server. You want to stay tuned with all the ideas that are coming up in the channel, probably after my exams though. So after the 1st of July, probably you're going to be seeing a lot of content, and probably you're going to be seeing episode 4 of this series. In the meantime, the most things that I'm going to be doing on the channel at the moment is going to be the WRC 9 and F1 2020 Kareem, so stay tuned for that. Probably, hopefully before the 1st of July, I'm going to be finishing both of this series. I know it's hard, but hopefully we can do that, because after the exams I really want to try something new. I really want to do some of the big projects that I've been promising so far on the channel, and hopefully I can do them as well. So yeah, if you have any further questions, make sure you comment down below, like this video if it helped you a lot, subscribe to the channel and ring that bell to get notifications for any new videos that I'm going to be posting in the channel. Follow me on Twitter because I'm quite active there. Join my Discord server if you want to chat with me or have any suggestions and video ideas that you want me to implement into the channel. And for this video, boys, it's been your boy TM, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
I know you hear all the time, but I got to know what's your sign. I know you hear all the time, but I got to know what's your sign. Let me get that off your mind. It really don't matter, you a Scorpio tonight, and it's. Let me get that off your mind. It really don't matter, you a Scorpio tonight, and it's. I know you hear all the time, but I got got the no what's your sign. I know you hear it all the time.